सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी कृष्णभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे
हरे
Hare Krishna. So good evening everybody and welcome. We are going to be reading Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. We've been doing it for some time. Last week to celebrate the 150th appearance anniversary of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. We were doing, it was a short break, but it was also discussing glorifying a great Vaishnav. So we've started from yesterday. So we are on chapter 9. Yesterday, Prabhu, Simeshwar Prabhu nicely covered devotional service and in pure love of God and ecstasy. So this section has 4 main themes, and today we'll cover the remaining 2 themes. That is the Lord's extraordinary mercy and association of devotees. Hare Krishna. Okay, so a quick overview of Nectar of Devotion. You know, if you all are interested, I can share this slide with you. It is a summary study of Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Prabhupada has titled it Nectar of Devotion. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu means the nectarian ocean of the mellow or sweet taste of bhakti. So that sweet taste, which is that rasa, it comes from serving Krishna with devotion. Nothing else. It's only devotion and to Krishna, which will give that taste. Hare Krishna. Now, the reason, very important to understand why Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada wrote this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So the first is he was instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Instructions, keep this in mind. You know, the instruction of the spiritual master is the most important possession one can have, most important. And to actually gets its value. So, for example, you know, you may have um, a home, and the home value will increase after 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, correct? So that value will increase of that asset. Or you have a diamond, it will have some value. Similarly, when we say instructions are the most important possession, you know, a person can have an instruction of a Vaishnava, the spiritual master, that value is realized only if and only if, you know, we obediently follow those instructions. So we may receive the instructions, but if we don't do anything with it, you know, it just loses whatever purpose that has. So for us, you know, it will not be of much value. So keep this in mind. Instruction is the most valuable possession provided we obey those instructions to the fullest. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami was his chief disciple, and he gave this instruction that you should go to Vrindavan and write about, Krishna Katha, and for the masses, uplift the masses. So the second reason was the highest good of humanity. And then the third reason is to satisfy the longing that people on the path of Krishna consciousness, because once you get onto the taste, we'll understand how you come to that level of taste, then everything else falls short, and it's kind of dry, everything else. So to, how do you say, the parched throat, you give little bit of water. That's what Rupa Goswami was his third reason. So one is following the instructions. Second is doing the best welfare work for humanity. And third is for those on the path of self-realization, the devotees, right? It is the uh, fulfilling their longing to taste rasa. Hare Krishna. And then you know that Sindhu means an ocean, and there are the four sides: north, south, east, and west. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So I think this was Bhakti Tir Swami Maharaj who had said, again, we'll talk about instruction because it's so important. Whenever a spiritual master or a Vaishnava gives an instruction, that instruction has embedded in it the empowerment for one to execute it. The empowerment is embedded for one to execute it. And sincere obedience, correct, is how we can get empowered. So typically, when an instruction is given, we shouldn't look at it as a doable if able basis. No, that's not the right approach to it. Instruction comes, yes, I will follow it. And how to do it, what all to do, whatever are the impediments, that's where that empowerment is there. As long as we have that enthusiasm to obey it unconditionally. So that is the instruction. Now, what is the highest good for humanity? Madhupati Prabhu had given this example. A little kid is lost at a fair. Fairs are crowded places. And he was crying, crying, crying because he couldn't find his father, right? Because with father, you have shelter, you have protection. So this kid was crying. So someone, after a while, saw him and he said, "What's your problem?" He says, "Oh, are you hungry?" So the child said, "Yeah." So he went and got him a samosa. And the kid ate the samosa and his hunger was satisfied for a little while. Then again, he was crying, 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 crying. And, in all the rush, this, that, and all, his shirt buttons broke. You know, and it started raining and he was feeling really shivering. So someone took him in one of the shops and he says, "Come here, little boy," and provided him, the temporary shelter till such time that rain was falling. And the kid was kind of, "Oh, okay, nice." He felt a little better. He stopped crying, but still he was hankering. And then with that cold, he got a cold and got fever. So someone took him to a hospital and they treated him. And fine, he was fine again. But again, he was crying and hankering. He was crying and hankering. Why? Because that shelter, his real shelter, is home. People whom he knows, where he belongs. He's here in a foreign place. All the glitter of the fair and everything else looks good. So finally, one person, he says, "Hey, I know who you are, and I know your dad. Come with me." So he and takes him and delivers him to his father's house. And that kid is ecstatic, and the father is ecstatic, right? Now, if you look at it, these different people all helped the child, all helped the child. But if you see, they helped the child for his bodily comforts and needs. He was hungry, feed the belly, correct? He was needed shelter, provided him a home or whatever it is. And then he was ill, hospital. So, yes, these are nice things to do, but it is all on the bodily platform, and the bodily platform is such that whatever is done for it only remains for a certain while. Whereas we, the spirit soul, being eternal, need something which is longer lasting, something which is eternal. So, the best welfare work, all the people did welfare. The best welfare work is when you address the needs of the soul, the need of the soul, correct? So the person, the final, the last guy who took this little kid back to his father. Similarly, the analogy is we also are lost in this material world, and we are trapped in the glitter and all these sensory pleasures that this material world offers us. But, birth, old age, disease, death, all these other miseries, adhyatmika, adhibhautika, adhidaivika, all these things are slamming us. And it's like a yin and yang. We have this pleasure and then disillusionment, then again misery, then again ups and downs. And we're trying to find where can we get that, not knowing that our true home is not this place, it is the spiritual world. And the person who takes us over there is doing the greatest welfare work. So that's the second reason of Rupa Goswami writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And then finally, is this satisfy the thirst, correct? So we all thirst for love. My Gurudev, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says that to love and be loved, this is something which is very intrinsic to each and every jiva, and we are longing for that love. But what we do is we try to satisfy it with lust. Okay. And after that temporary satisfaction, we become despondent. That's what our situation is. So when you actually, get on the path of bhakti and then you come to that stage, right? Then all these things become, like Dhruva Maharaj said, you know, whatever material gain I was looking for, I've realized just the darshan of Sri Vishnu, it's just like broken pieces of glass. So only that bhakti can satisfy, correct, the thirst of the soul. Hare Krishna. So now, a quick overview of devotional service and pure love of God and ecstasy. So what does this mean? Right? So there are these five terms: devotion, service, purity, love, and God. Let's understand each one of them. So devotion is a single-minded focus. Devotion is a sense of loyalty, correct? So I will not waver from that. So what does Prabhupada say? He says that a grain of devotion is more valuable than tons of faithfulness. Tons of faithfulness. Service is the platform on which love is expressed and reciprocated. Even in our day to day lives, the normal conditioned living, service is when you express something and it is reciprocated, whether you're doing it for your spouse, your child, whatever it is, you do something. So that service is the platform on which love is expressed and reciprocated. Purity means as it is, correct? No adulteration, nothing else is mixed. It's the very essence of something. So if we look at a soul, it is pure. The material covering is contaminated. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, right? What is the essence of the spirit soul? Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityada. Servitorship is as it is, that purity. The purity of a soul is servitorship. Of course, we think servitorship in the material condition is something menial, and we don't aspire for that. We want to be the controller, we want to be the enjoyer, not knowing that our position is the controlled and the enjoyed. In such a state, servitorship seems to be a very degraded, but in reality, material is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. In reality, servitorship is the highest highest um, situation a person could get into, a jiva could be in. So much so that the supreme controller, enjoyer, and proprietor serves those who serve him. He becomes Parthasarthi. He becomes the chariot driver. It's a menial position, right? The chariot driver is when the warrior is fighting on the battlefield. It's a chaotic environment, and the warrior doesn't have time to give instructions, verbal instructions. It's that intense, the uh, the environment. So what does he do? He kicks the chariot driver. The chariot driver is on the seat, and the warrior is standing up above. So if he wants him to go to the left, he's busy shooting his arrows. He kicks him on the left side. With his knee, he'll nudge him on the right side. Now, this is Krishna Swayam Bhagwan. When you go to worship him on the altar, the level of cleanliness, the level of the standard of reverence, correct? You do not eat anything. You're fasting. You have a shower, a bath. You know, you don't talk. It's minimal. Only whatever service related is what you're speaking. So there is the certain standard you maintain with Krishna. And what does he do? Arjuna, his friend, serving him in the mood of friendship. What does Krishna do? He takes the position of servitorship. What does he do for Nanda Baba? When Krishna was a small child, he takes Nanda Maharaj's shoes and puts it on his head and brings it to uh, Nanda Baba. That is servitorship. So, Jivera Swarupo hai Krishnera Nitya Das. And the other essence, purity is Satchitanand. So, this is what purity when we talk about Hare Krishna. So, what is love? It's a fundamental characteristic. It is, how do we say, it is intrinsic. You cannot take away love from a human being. You cannot take away servitorship, not human being, from a living entity, a jiva. That is what it's a defining characteristic of who uh, the jiva is. So now we have some experience of love, some experience. It's not really love, but the highest, as my Guru Maharaj says, that we can experience, or the closest love comes, is the mother has for her child. Everything else will have a great amount of self interest in that transaction, what we call love. We love a person because how that person makes us feel. And that can change. That can change. It can be strong, it could be weakened, and it can change. And that object also could change. So, as I was preparing for the class, I asked Sachi Rani, give me three words. What you think is love? So, first, she said, is love is selfless. There is no self in the picture. You're always doing it for the object of your love, the beloved. So first is love is selfless. Then love acts. What do you mean by love acts? Love does things to keep the beloved pleased, to make the beloved happy. So it is selfless, it is active love. It is not dull, it is not passive. And the third she said is you're always thinking. Whenever anything happens, the first thing you'll think about is my beloved, whatever it be. So thinking. So these three things is what she said, and I thought it's very pertinent to whatever is our understanding of love as the acharyas and shastras explain it. It is unmotivated, unconditional, and uninterrupted. Now, the same love, when it gets mixed with this self serving reason, for a sensory pleasure, whether it is mental or whether it is physical, then it becomes lust. Hare Krishna. So, some examples of this devotional service. Basically, these five terms, if you look at it, could be encapsulated into one word, which is bhakti. The living examples are Brajvasis, Lord Jesus, of course, the gopis, that's the highest uh, expression of love. Sant Tukaram from Maharashtra, Andal, Mataji, yesterday was the Prabhu had explained her pastimes. Mirabai from the north, Shabari, our own very Srila Prabhupada. I was talking with Neeru Mata before the class started. What is this? Prabhupada, he, at the age of 69, he had completed everything, sannyas, and in the most holiest of the holy places, the Dham, Vrindavan, he's over there, reading, writing, pursuing his devotional services, bhakti. He left everything with nothing, nothing, no money, nothing, hardly a few rupees. And he took an arduous journey in a cargo ship, suffering two heart attacks, comes into a foreign land. Literally, Prabhupada got down. No one is there to receive him. He doesn't know whether to turn left or to go right. Why did he do all this? Why did he do all this? It is that pure love of God which he had and to distribute. So, love is always giving. My Guru Maharaj says that if you have love in your heart, love is what will come out. If there's love in your heart, love is what? Love cannot be contained. It is not selfish. You cannot keep it for yourself. So if there is pure love of God, it is always distributed. Hare Krishna. Ecstasy. Yeah. It is this, we all have some sense of pleasure, but this pleasure is um, it's a teensy weensy bit of what that pleasure is. These are all bodily or intellectual, subtle body pleasure that we have. But at times, when you engage in some devotional service, whatever it be, there may be a, slight experience a person may get, like seeing a shadow or that curtain just momentarily parts away, and we can experience that. So that, is ecstasy, right? What we feel when this happens, it could happen listening to kirtan, it could happen while worshipping the deities, while taking darshan, whatever act of devotional service, it is over and above whatever we have ever experienced. And there are certain symptoms which are there in the Shastras to know spiritual um, uh, ecstasy that comes in. But whatever we feel in a conditioned state, okay, it's that infinitesimal of what the real ecstasy is. And the reason that happens is that Krishna, Abhas, Krishna does it to bring us closer to Him. Krishna does it to bring us closer to Him. It's something like you got the taste, and oh, now I want to do more and more and more of it. So that whatever is the processes that we're following, we get more intense, we get more sincere, it engage more and more in that. And that's how proportionately, we start experiencing this ecstasy. So some examples are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, who comes in the role of his devotee. And, there's this very nice to understand ecstasy pastime of the Shiksha Guru of Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. So he was extremely old, over 100 years old, and bent and physically almost immobile. So they went to Navadip Dham. Uh, Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj took him, and he was carried in a basket. And to find out the birthplace where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, his name Nimai under the neem tree. So they were trying to figure out where this is. And then finally, with reference to Shastra, they found out that this is the place. And when Jagannath Babaji, he came to that place, he literally jumped out of the basket and he was exulting. This is what is ecstasy. That is one example of a devotee who is experiencing this transcendental bliss. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be doing more in detail Lord's extraordinary mercy. So what is mercy? Uh, Mercy is, it's an expression of compassion, and it is uh, something that benefits someone who doesn't deserve it. In our normal understanding, we can look at mercy as, for example, there is somebody who deserves the death penalty, correct? He deserves to be executed for some heinous act that he has committed, and the sentence has been passed. So now he's supposed to be executed. However, the president, the highest authority of the land, has the power to commute that sentence, correct? The clemency, what they call. He can commute that sentence. He doesn't deserve it. The convict doesn't deserve it, but it's that mercy. So, mercy is an expression of compassion. And in Krishna, this is that inherent nature of Krishna. Mercy is the inherent nature. Just like his effulgence, it is all pervading. So Romapad Maharaj was asked this question, that if mercy is for the undeserving, why is it that we have to do this, don't do that, follow so many rules and regulations, and then you'll be a recipient of his mercy? So Maharaj gave the example, Krishna's mercy is like sunshine. It is all over. Sunshine doesn't discriminate whether you're a devotee, whether you're an atheist or, an asura, whatever it is. Sunshine is available freely to everybody. However, it is our choice that rather be out in the sunshine, be all sitting in a dark basement or a dungeon. Correct? It's our choice that we are sitting over there and we are eking out an existence in this dark basement, lifetimes together. Now, whatever we are doing, our practices, our sadhana, correct, is like climbing the steps of this basement and stepping out into the sunlight. Of course, the gurus, the Vaishnavas, they are the ones who are holding our hands and leading us up. Now, when the Vaishnav comes, when the Guru comes and he's extending his hand to us, we'll grasp one, two steps and then, oh, it's too difficult. That climb is too arduous for me. And I want to go back. I sit back. So that is what we need to do, our effort, climb those steps. That mercy is available. So that mercy is like his effulgence, it's all pervading. It is causeless. Mercy isn't a reward for behavior, just like bhakti. Bhakti is causeless. It's not that something you do, you'll get bhakti. I could go into a marketplace and, I could buy um, something. I pay the price, I will get it. I do something and I will get some kind of a benefit or a reward. Bhakti is causeless. Bhakti is causeless. So similarly, this mercy is causeless. That is who Krishna is. He's merciful. He's very merciful. This is what is there even in the Quran. They have, like, how we say, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. They also have this prayer, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious and most merciful. Most merciful. What is grace? Grace is that same mercy, Krishna's mercy, when it comes through his representative. It is called grace. His grace, that's the etiquette how we address His grace, Simeshwar Prabhu, His grace, so and so, His divine grace, for highly elevated, like Srila Prabhupada, His divine grace. So when that mercy is being distributed by his devotee, the devotee is the via media, the conduit through which that mercy flows, and it will come all the way, not just outside. So look at it that mercy has come through the dark basement, in these hellish conditions. That is called grace. Hare Krishna. Extraordinary mercy. Okay. Now, extraordinary mercy is how Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees. So, mercy is there for everybody. It's there for everybody. He's known as Janardana Bhavagrahi, right? So, what feelings we have towards Krishna, he reciprocates accordingly. So, that mercy, when it is intensified to a person who has intense feeling, also known as a devotee, for Krishna, that is that extraordinary mercy. What does it do, that extraordinary mercy? First is it brings a person to prema. So, prema, correct? That ecstatic love is a consequence of Krishna's extraordinary mercy. And prema, okay, the uh, way to reach prema is with Krishna or his devotees associating. So the gopis, they did not know Shastras, they were not doing any vidhi, uh, just by associating with Krishna, they got prema. And of course, Krishna, his representatives are his devotees, that same, that grace, that mercy coming. One can get to the stage of prema, Hare Krishna. The second thing, what it does is that the spontaneous attraction. Now we are, how do you say, we are learning how to love Krishna. It seems kind of a um, paradoxical. Love is something intrinsic, love is something natural. How can you learn to be natural? What it means is that whatever is this covering that we have, whatever is covering our original consciousness, our original self, okay, we are learning how to layer by layer peel all this off. And this, whatever is there, that love, that is revealed. So, with Krishna, correct, that attraction, all of us are a part and parcel of Krishna. We are connected with Krishna very, very intimately. But we have forgotten that. We ourselves have severed. Actually, you can't sever that connection. You're always connected with Krishna. But we have chosen to turn our back away from Krishna, turn our back to Krishna, correct? So when we are doing all these things is a process is to turn back, face that sunshine. So what happens is that Krishna, the very word Krishna means all attractive. And when Krishna, he sees what effort we're putting, what is our bhava, what is our feelings that we have for him, then within us it starts developing. And slowly but surely, you can understand how this happens. Initially, doing japa is so difficult. There's no attraction for the chanting the name, and it could be years together. But keep at it slowly, slowly, slowly. That taste will start developing, and then the mind itself, you know, will be saying that, hey, I should be more attentive. And then after a while, it's just spontaneous, raganuga, that attraction for Krishna. So this spontaneous can further be classified as two types. One is when a person has this awe and reverence for his uh, greatness, correct? So when we actually understand who Krishna is, of course, intellectually we know that all the six opulences he has in absolute. So, yeah, but when we actually realize the awe and reverence of how great he is, that's when that nishta will come in and will be steady and firm for Krishna. And you are assured the four types of Vaishnav liberation, unlike the impersonalist liberation, but the devotee doesn't even care for liberation. He doesn't even care. All he says is, may I always remember you, may I never forget you, and may I always, always, always be engaged in your service. That's all is a Vaishnava's prayer. And then the other is the spontaneous attraction with no external consideration. That is the uh, 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 that is a consequence of this extraordinary mercy. Hare Krishna. And of course, the very fact that we are following these regulative principles, do's and don'ts, correct? Uh, that also is because of this extraordinary mercy. Somewhere we started our journey, somehow we started our journey in fits and starts, whatever it may be. How did that happen? Someone, someone may have given us a book and we held that book, you know. So then Krishna's mercy, that extraordinary mercy, he says that, okay, this person has opened this book, he's reading it, he's stumbling, he's trying. And that's what empowers us to keep at it. Recently in a class, Sarvadik Prabhu was asked, like, so many years, same old, same old, same old, it's becoming mechanical. What can we do? So he gave a nice answer, short and sweet. Same old, same old, same old. The only solution to that is keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. Sooner or later, there used to be one song, Hindi song, Hum Honge Kamyab Ek Din. We will be, what is Kamyab? We will succeed one day. Hum mein hai Vishwas, pura hai Vishwas. You have full confidence, full faith in that. Just keep on, keep on, keep on. Never mind. Of course, bring in a little bit of seriousness in whatever we're doing. A little seriousness. ठीक है, I can't do all 16 rounds with attention. Let me at least start with one mantra, one bead. Let me at least control my mind for one bead. And if we start like this, then slowly, slowly it'll become two beads, it'll become 30 beads, it'll become one round. And because we are getting that taste, then getting up in the morning and chanting will not seem such a arduous thing. How is it happening? Is it happening because I had this desire? No, it is happening because Krishna is reciprocating with me. And until and unless that reciprocation doesn't happen, and all he's looking for are intent. How serious are we? That's all he's looking at. It's not something cheap. Love of God is not some, love itself isn't cheap. It isn't cheap. So why just, uh, award it to anybody and everybody? The so-called price is our intent and seriousness. Hare Krishna, to हासिल करने के लिए, to get it. Hare Krishna. So here is one thing to keep in mind. Uh, we may feel that, oh, now I know so much. Oh, I can recite the entire Bhagavad Gita. Oh, I know all the pastimes, and oh, I can give good class. Oh, I can dress the deity so well. Me. Yeah, devotional activities is what we are doing. But all the same, always keep in mind what Prabhupada said, you're the most of nothing. Once a disciple, in great enthusiasm, he went and told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I'm your most humble servant. And he offered his obeisance. So Prabhupada looked down at him and said, you are the most of nothing. Most of nothing. And that's the attitude we should have, no matter what progress we make, no matter whatever our condition be. Always keep in mind you are the most of nothing. And this attitude will is a kavach. It keeps arrogance, it keeps pride, at an arm's distance. Because once that comes in, it starts destroying whatever we are trying, whatever progress that we made, it just drags us back into this material condition. Hare Krishna. Association with pure devotees. What does this mean? So, association, Radhanath Swami says, association means to serve. Of course, association, there are different types when you come in the company of somebody. But what do you mean when you come in the company of somebody? Is it ha ha he he hoo hoo? Yeah, there are these social clubs and other things that people get together and have a good time, enjoy, enjoy, gratify your senses. So what is association? Is the temple a spiritual club? There are different clubs you have. There are people who go golfing with their buddies, and people go bar hopping, whatever, for enjoyment. So is a temple a place where we come and have spiritual sense gratification? No. Association in the company of Vaishnavas is to serve. We serve them. That is the key. That is what association means. How do you serve? You can serve the Vapu, which means the body, and more importantly, serve the Vani. The Vapu is temporary, it'll depart one day, but the Vani is forever. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj has said he reasons ill that a Vaishnav dies. A Vaishnav, uh, a Vaishnav dies to live, and in living spreads the holy name around. I'm sorry if someone knows it, can please say this. But what that essence is that a Vaishnav never dies, what we think. The body departs, it's matter, but that instructions are eternal. Prabhupada left. He finished his pastimes and he has gone back. But those instructions still today, hundreds and millions of books, whatever we are speaking today is Prabhupada's instructions. His disciples is coming through us, and it will keep going on and on and on. So it is more important. That is the Vani, to serve the Vani. How do we serve the Vani? A free will, we decide that, yes, I will listen. Listening is so important, like what you all are doing. This Sangha in the evening, the Bhagavad Sangha in the morning. We come to the temple, there are Bhakti Vrikshas going on. In your own time, when you're reading, you open the book and you're reading. What you're doing, you're actually serving the instructions of the Vaishnava. So that is what association means, to serve, serving the Vapu, and most important, serving the Vani. Then what happens when we associate with a Vaishnava? So you know these 9 stages, correct? So that's the outcome of, uh, excuse me, that's the outcome of Sadhu Sangha. So there are different stages how progressively the sadhaka can come to this pure love of Godhead. Now, this is not time dependent. This is not time dependent. What it depends on is a level of surrender. A level of surrender. All of us are holding on. We are holding on to our baggage. Each one of us carries baggage of this lifetime and previous lifetimes. We are so attached. We are so much carrying on to it. And it's something like we have a foot on our material boat and the other foot is on the Krishna conscious boat. And it is such that both boats are drifting in the opposite direction. And somehow or the other, we're trying to, bring them together and do stuff to get it together. Sometimes I'm doing this, sometimes I'm doing that. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, whatever be that case. That is what we're doing. So it is not time. We could be here for 50 years doing our sadhana, and there will be very, very, very little progress. What actually which takes us over here, and Romapad Maharaj has said, every day we get, there are 16 words in the Mahamantra, times 108 times 16. So that comes to something 27,000, whatever is that, large number. He's saying every day you have those many opportunities to go back to Godhead. How do you go back to Godhead is over here. Prema. Those many opportunities we have every day. Maharaj is saying not just the Mahamantra, just that one word, Hare, with that level of intensity, that level of feeling, that level of focus, with that devotion, just one, and it will straight away take you to, uh, it will straight away, the heart will burst with this pure love. So it is not a question of time. It is a question of our intent and sincerity. And if we get that intention, the sincerity comes, you get that intention that, yes, I will do this, whatever be that case. I will read at least one verse once. For example, I will read one verse every day, no matter what. Then gradually, as earlier we saw, Hare Krishna. So this is what uh, Shiv Bhagwan, Lord Shiva, told his consort, Mother Parvati, right? Any person who has developed the ecstasy of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot even perceive. This is what association is. We all caught up in this material world with the ups and downs. We are being, like if you played the pinball, you've seen the pinball machine, two, it goes, right? And there's a ball which goes here and there, zigzag all the way, and we're trying to control it. Move it here, move it there. This is what literally our life is. It's a pinball machine. And we're trying to control circumstances. We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, trying to move ahead, trying to get this, trying to get that. Whatever we are trying, but actually we are like a pinball being bounced all around. Maya is slapping us happily, and we're trying our best. And then what is happening? Sometimes distress, sometimes happiness. But a person who has bhakti, who has love of God, it doesn't even strike him problems of the body or gains, whatever happens. He is above all that. He is aloof. Hare Krishna. And see all this, the beauty, just simply by associating, serving the Vaishnava. We become, uh, we have the opportunity. Of course, it's up to us to take the opportunity. Remember that basement. It's available. It's us to hold the hand and start climbing those stairs. Hare Krishna. So when we are in association, this reminder, Prabhu's, Mataji's, we all know familiarity breeds contempt. What does that mean? We start taking people for granted. Then we start using them. The problem is that things are meant to be used and people are meant to be loved. But the problem is we love things and our possessions and use people. It is completely twisted on its head. And that familiarity breeds contempt. We don't value. And that familiarity also can tend to happen in our most close relationships with our spouse, with our children, with our siblings. We get a sense of entitlement. Remember that earlier, you are the most of nothing. If we consider ourselves most of nothing, then no matter what a person does, even out of his or her own duty, we will still be so appreciative that, oh, you've done this for me. So contempt leads to offenses. Then we'll start ninda, whatever it is. And it's like that mad elephant. Bhakti Lata, it is Lata is a creeper. It's like a creeper. Bhakti is a creeper. And a creeper needs a strong support. That support is the Vaishnava, Guru Sadhu Shastra. And that's what the Bhakti Lata Bij wraps around. And when we start getting familiar, because you get closer to a person, and when you get closer to a person, then what will happen is our nature is to find faults in that person. and we start minimizing who he or she is. We do not recognize whatever the person does for us. That first slide, the highest welfare work is what a Vaishnava is doing. He's rescuing a soul. He throws a life jacket to us, and we start doubting that person's intention. What does he want from me? This, whatever it is. And that's what is, like a mad elephant enters into this garden and he starts whatever we have so diligently, so carefully we have been planting. He just comes in and destroys everything. So just as in driving, of course, now it's all automatic cars, but those of you who are old school and know driving, there were three elements, A, B, C, accelerator, brake, and clutch. You need to use all these three. And the most important principle of driving is always be careful. You may not be rash, but there may be some other person who's not obeying the traffic rules and laws. So you need to be careful when you're driving. Similarly, in association, we need to be careful, very, very careful. We need to be cautious. We need to be very conscious of our words, of our, why do we say Prabhu with someone? Let's start feeling when we call. Of course, we say Prabhu, oh, Sameshwar Prabhu, Madhupati Prabhu, Prabhu. It's by rote. We say Mataji, the highest term of respect a man can give a woman, Mataji. So when we have this attitude, I am nothing, he's Prabhu, when I actually feel he's Prabhu, then we'll ask, how may I serve you? So always be careful, don't get familiar. Serve the Vaishnava. Hare Krishna. So here's a very good example of what association with a devotee means. So you know this, right? Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, just a moment's association. Lava. Lava is 1/11th of a second. And getting that fraction of an association with a devotee, your life is a success. Hare Krishna. So this is George Harrison. George Harrison was one of the members of the Beatles, and Beatles were like God in the 60s. They had taken the world, fame, wealth, power, everything, and young boys, top of the world. And Prabhupada had told Shyam Sundar Prabhu, his disciple, in the early days of ISKCON, start London branch. We had spoken, Guru's instruction has the empowerment embedded in it. They knew nothing, raw. They knew nothing, they had nothing. But they had confidence in Prabhupada's instruction. They left Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Malti Mataji, small little child they had. Uh, and they came to London. Somehow or the other, they managed, and they went to a studio to do recording. And the Beatles were also recording in that studio, and they came down the steps. And seeing Shyam Sundar Prabhu with his tilak, dhoti, kurta, spontaneously George Harrison went and approached him. He says, "Where are you? I've been looking for you people." And that's where the association started. And he became a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, he wanted to give up everything and he wanted to move full time into a temple. But Prabhupada said no. Just like Arjuna, right? Arjuna was wanting to give up everything. He was a Kshatriya. He said, I don't want all this. I don't want the kingdom. What is the use for me, all that? What did Krishna says? No, do your duty, fight. Your duty is to fight. So similarly, Prabhupada instructed George Harrison, no, you continue doing what you're doing. And he remained in the association of devotees. He composed a great, even till today, My Sweet Lord. And in that My Sweet Lord, he has chanted the Mahamantra. Millions and millions of people worldwide got to be chanting the Mahamantra. He just, through, Prabhupada's mercy came on him, and he further went and distributed it. There's a very nice pastime, to Krishna book. If you know the Krishna book, Bhagavatam 10th canto, pastimes of Krishna Bhagwan. Prabhupada had, you know, uh, written this Krishna book, and he wanted it published. So he told Shyam Sundar Prabhu, ask George, if he would like to sponsor whatever the publication costs. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu was feeling a little hesitant, already has given us the Bhakti Vedanta manner. Uh, he has donated that, and he was feeling a little hesitant to ask him. So they were sitting on the dining table, and it was night time and raining very heavily. So somehow or the other, he mustered his courage, and he asked, very tentatively, George, that, oh, this is what Prabhupada is planning to do. He's planning to publish this Krishna book. And George also was in kind of, oh, and suddenly there was a loud uh, thunder, huge sound, flash of light, and all the power went off. Pitch dark it became. And that's when George Harrison said that, this is the instruction I got, that yes, spiritual master's instruction, just follow it. And he happily uh, uh, got the Krishna. So the first volume is due to the grace of George Harrison. Every morning, Mangalarti, Brahma Samhita prayer, Govindam. This is Adi Purusham. Aham bhajami. If you listen to that sound, it's so ethereal. It just transports you into a different place. The early morning time when Mangalarti in the temple, that is George Harrison's composition. And then finally, he left his body a few years ago, uh, just his family, and he called Shyam Sundar Prabhu and a few other devotees, and he left his body when they were chanting the Maha Mantra. What a glorious life with all that wealth and all that power and all that fame. Just see how he comes in association with a devotee, and he has surrendered. So surrender is not this tilak. Surrender is not this dhoti kurta. Surrender is not Nirjal Ekadashi. So, how we obey, how we take those instructions to our heart, and how we serve the Vaishnava, that is what association and the result of association. Hare Krishna, George Harrison Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, bringing this, summarizing to bring it to a close, what are the key takeaways we can meditate on? So, there is this devotional service in pure love of God. Love is only meant for Krishna, nobody else. Also, we discussed that, okay, what about our relations, our parents, and wife and children? How does that work? Again, it is in relation to Krishna. Our consciousness should be, this is not my wife, not my child. This is Krishna's family. That's what Bhakti Charu Swami said is, consider them to be Krishna's family and serve them. You're the caretaker. And sure, then that love is just an extension. They're Krishna's. If you love Krishna, you will love Krishna's. Hare Krishna. Pure love means there's no reason, no motivation. Otherwise, it is vyapar. If um, I'm doing bhakti because I want to get prema, that's a transaction. That's a transaction. So it is no reason. That's just who I am. That's what, that is Krishna. And I love Krishna. Hare Krishna. Ecstasy, the intense spiritual pleasure. Extraordinary mercy is how Krishna reciprocates with his devotee. And association, that is the key. Obedience to the instructions. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu's, Mataji's, oh, we already past time. I don't know, Simeshwar Prabhu, if we can continue a few more minutes or we can bring it to a close.
We'll continue, Prabhuji.
Okay, thanks, Prabhu. So, Prabhu's Mataji's, if you could please voice your thoughts on what can we do to attain prema. So I've started off the discussion as practice, practice, practice. Keep practicing. हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन. What else? What are the attributes? What are the characteristics? What should we do? Of course, keep in mind, when I say do is climbing the steps of those basements, okay? Not that we'll do all this thing and we'll get prema. That is still Krishna's call.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Wonderful, wonderful class as always, Prabhuji. Thank
All
you.
glories to Prabhupada and you.
So never miss an opportunity for devotional service.
Nice.
Whenever you get a chance of association, take advantage and make a association, make it more bigger group.
Yeah, this thing what Sachimata Mataji you said, no? Jump at every seva opportunity. I'm reminded of John F. Kennedy. So JFK was very, very successful at a very young age. So Life magazine interviewed him and they asked him, to what do you attribute your success? And he said, I jump at every opportunity. So the reporter asked him, but how do you know when opportunity comes knocking at your door? He says, I don't, but I'm jumping all the time. So significant this is. Jumping all the time means that as and when that opportunity comes knocking on my door, I will pounce on it. I will capitalize. I will do something with it rather than, like a couch potato, I'm sitting on the sofa. And by the time I'm able to get up and wear my slippers and go, that opportunity has passed by. So jump at seva opportunities. There are countless seva opportunities. Please contact Krishna Namanand Prabhu or any one of the managers in our Sangha. Simeshwar Prabhu is doing book distribution. Just ask him, how's it going? What all do you do? How can I get it? Just ask, how can I get involved? And there are so many things that you could do. Ask Krishna Namanand Prabhu, whether initiated, not initiated, whether young, old, you could do seva sitting in the house. So many things are there. So keep jumping, keep asking, what more can I do? What more can I do? Hare Krishna. Very nice. Very nice things. Always associate.
Basically, Prabhuji, it's eagerness and determination, right? Jumping would be like eagerness and eagerness, like to serve, and then determination, no, come what may, I have to do it.
Yeah. How can we be determined? Think about this. How can I be eager? How can I be determined? My mind is pulling me somewhere else. Nay, 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 you've done enough. Oh, you go twice for waking the deities. Early morning. You also have to go to work. You're anyway doing enough. Oh, okay, okay, okay. How can we be eager? How can we be determined? Yes, nice. This is what we should do now. How? So, we can
change the priority.
Yes, make it a priority. But the problem is there are other things which are priority in my life. My job, my family, my this, my that. And कभी-कभी ठीक है भक्ति भी कर लिया थोड़ा सा. You know, uh, some time back I did an inventory of how much time I spend on bhakti. Whatever chanting and reading and cooking bhoga, temple seva, going to the temple, this, that, whatever. So, and it is an eye opener. Believe me, and I will request if you'd like to do it, please do it. Just, at a high level, how much time do you spend on bhakti? All of us have 24 hours. So, out of those 24 hours, which are related to devotional services, and then the baki ka time jo hai, what is it you're doing with it? And it really opens the eye. And at least for me, it it says that there's so much more I can do. And there's so much nonsense where I'm just getting closer to death and I'm just doing time pass, which is happening. So eagerness and determination, we can do it as if we refer to Prabhupada's instruction. He had said, of course, enthusiasm. So we can put this as enthusiasm is he says, if you don't feel enthusiasm, act enthusiastically. You will automatically become enthusiasm because this mind, usually is telling our body what to do, action from this mind. However, the beauty is that even if we engage the body in such a way, the mind automatically follows suit. So if you're not enthusiastic, act enthusiastically, you will become enthusiastic. So, for example, getting up in the morning may seem, I can't get up, I can't get up. Okay, let's say you get up at 6:30 in the morning. Take a baby step. I'll get up at 6:15. And when you get up off the bed, when that alarm goes, don't just slam the alarm. Oh God, I have to get up. I could have slept 15 minutes more. Jump out of bed. Straight away go into the restroom and do your morning toiletries, whatever else there is. Then that lethargy and whatever is holding us back, the mind will no longer focus on that and then focus on the task which we are doing. Thank you for sharing that eagerness and determination. What else?
Hare
Serving
Krishna
the
Prabhuji.
Vaishnava.
Sorry, there was overlap.
Go ahead, Mataji.
I was telling serving the Vaishnava. Seva for the Vaishnava.
Associate. Associate means to serve.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, good. You reiterated that point. Serve the Vaishnav.
Hare
Look
Krishna
for the good
Prabhuji.
in others.
Everyone.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Oh, Mataji, go ahead.
Yeah, I said look for the good in others.
Hmm.
No, Prabhuji, what came to my mind, you know how we talk and by end of the conversation we say, stay in touch, stay connected. So instead of just saying that to the friends or the family on phone calls, so just like a fixed determination, stay in touch with Krishna, stay in touch with temple, stay in touch with association, stay connected, and then prema is already there and you will realize more and more. And then comes the friends and family. So
Nice.
naturally the priority will come Krishna and temple and this association, devotees.
Yeah, I like the stay in touch. Of course, depending on the situation and um, where we are and whom we are doing, it may it may have a reverse effect. So suppose at a professional setting or something, and you say, "Oh, stay in touch with Krishna," people will it may be a little difficult. But yes, with people whom we have a good relationship with, what you're doing is you also are remembering Krishna and helping them also remember Krishna, just in our common
Yes.
language. There's nothing extra we have to do. I like that, Mataji. I'll try doing that.
That will be easy for people to catch also, but
Yeah.
not like professionally, like somebody may feel offensive. So by EOB, we call na by end of the business day. Okay.
Yeah.
Stay in touch, stay connected. And another thing is reading. So if you feel like, oh, we're bored of this means it should be naturally in someone But in case there is nothing to do or just sitting on sofa and you cannot go outside to walk, so read. And if you physically cannot hold the book in your hand and read, so now I see these like Zoom classes and there is online like library and so many books. So I think this will come. And the
Yeah.
prema, it is all these things are happening because of the prema, because of the love.
Yeah, it's his love for us. We need to reciprocate. Yes, so nice, Mataji, so nice. Even this number 5, Sachirani, did you make that point? Look for good in others.
Yes.
Yeah. So even see each one of these, now, if we pay attention to it, and it's all doable. Look for good in others. How can we look for good in others? The test comes is when someone annoys us or we feel someone has slighted us. That's the time we should, catch on. Remember this. Look for good in that person. And the mind will come, rascal. How dare you?
Yes, yes.
All that immediately it will be, हम भड़क जाते हैं. We get, it's something like our consciousness is like gasoline.
Yes, Prabhuji, वो भड़कना जो है ना, like sometime even if you mention nicely, like no need to get upset, forget about this. Just think about that, how nice that is, or the good part. People वो और ज्यादा भड़क जाते हैं, पता नहीं क्या, what is happening
It
at that
happens with us
time
also,
in them.
Mataji. Not only the other person getting, because people are short-tempered and short-memoried, and this is Kalyug. This is Kalyug. It's not their fault. It is the nature, material nature. But when someone upsets us, when someone behaves in a manner जब हम भड़कते हैं, our consciousness is like gasoline, and that stimuli is like a matchstick. Whoop, it goes off. So, okay, ठीक है, the other person, if he's misbehaving, it takes two to tango, as they say. Why should I enter into that transaction? So, fine, that is what has happened. I recognize what has happened. And then I try to see the good in that person, no matter how horrible that person is, no matter what nonsense that person has done with me.
Yes,
Forgive because
Prabhuji.
you've been forgiven. Think of how much Krishna and, Vaishnavas are tolerating and forgiving. There's no sin, Nandulal Prabhu had said, there's no sin you can commit that Krishna cannot forgive. And we hold on. We hold on for years to years together, either in our family or in our office or whatever is that circle. Externally, we'll be keeping a facade and giving fake smiles and everything, but internally, we are festering. So always look for good in others. That thing brings us closer to Krishna. Because that person, remember, he is also Krishna's child. The worst person is also Krishna's child.
Yes,
And
Prabhuji.
Krishna's love for him is so dear. Very nice.
Another thing, yes, Prabhuji, one more thing. Like normally I play music in my kitchen when I'm working, when I know it will take long to cook. So recently the kirtan part, like sometime what I do, I try to mix some my own dhun with the kirtan. I was not that used to it, but now after listening to kirtans and other things, that is also now, and it's working very nicely. So I mean, reading and singing like kirtan or bhajan while cooking, like we don't have to be very loud, like in a humming way it can be.
Yeah, reading is a type of Shravanam, listening and speech.
Yes.
And this should be done as a discipline.
Discipline.
Reading has to be done as a discipline. There's no two ways about it. Good. Anybody else? All the Matajis have actively participated. And
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Prabhujis are being
Hare
shy.
Krishna. Can you hear me,
Oh,
Prabhuji?
Sandeep. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Prabhuji, just want to share here though. All the things probably I'm paraphrasing, but maybe I'm adding listening, reading, writing, understanding, um, seeing, watching, associating with the devotees, trying to do the services in the temple or other places, variety of services in the context, in uh, with the consciousness. The most important thing is it's not going to happen uh, overnight or just say immediately in a week or 2 weeks. Have to be cognizant, aware, knowledge, conscious that it's a eventual and gradual. Probably for some people might be very quick, couple of years, 2 years, 4 years. For people, it may be for 50 years or for lifetime. So depending on their seriousness, ability, willingness, and prioritization. However, this grantha and the knowledge that you provide on the classes, people when they associate here or temple, they get knowledge and understanding is the first part. Develop the interest. That interest in turn is a motivator, driver for the next interest you generate, and then you start deriving love out of it. Developing love in it, more interesting. Again, this is just my thought, Prabhu. You wanted to share.
You're right on track. Excellent, Prabhu. Very good. I mean, you encapsulated these all points ahead and how we do it. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any
Hare
other
Krishna.
Prabhu? Yeah, okay. Mataji, go ahead.
You want to ask Prabhuji?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Prabhuji, just one point I want to add, like austerity and keeping
Ah,
always Krishna in the center, like since morning to night, like when we get up, thinking about Krishna, getting up, right? Thinking, right, we are in the Vrindavan and all that. And then, brushing our teeth and taking shower. That time also, if we think we are doing for Krishna, if we are healthy, we are fresh, Krishna will be also feeling, he will feel happy and cleaning the house. So deities are in our home, so they will feel good because we also don't like dirty place, right? So they like, so every moment if we think we are cooking for Krishna, we are dancing for Krishna, for his pleasure, each moment, even we are working, why we are working? Because we'll get Lakshmi and we can use that for service or raising our kids or keeping our family happy and healthy. For Krishna consciousness means always thinking for Krishna's pleasure, and that will make our, even while sleeping also, one of the lectures I heard that when we are sleeping, just think like we are doing pranam, and that is a long pranam, like how much we are having that deep sleep, that is our pranam for Krishna. Means
yeah.
all activities we can make that Krishna consciousness, keeping the Krishna in the center. By austerities we have to sacrifice for everything, otherwise we'll be, oh, why would I clean my house? It's okay, but when we are thinking, no, our Jagannath ji is at home, our deities are at home, what they will feel night time also, even if we are tired, we have to clean the kitchen because they are looking at this, they are there in the our devghar. So we should not keep like this. So by austerity, everything thinking for Krishna, for his pleasure, by sacrificing, by austerity, we can definitely we can achieve love of Krishna.
I like this. The austerity, such an important thing that we need to do. All of us in our conditioning.
Hare Krishna, may I please interrupt you?
Of course.
I
Yes,
don't
Gigi.
know. I don't think that austerity is important because if we were God, then why would we want others to suffer, right? And I read stories also where the bhaktas were doing penances. Of course, I don't know how true they are because they were online, but they were say fasting, and then the
Sure.
God themselves somehow made an incident so that they were offered prasad so as to not keep the fast. So
Sure.
I feel like what we give is also what we get. And I feel like in our hearts, we know, like, why would we want to keep our children under austerity or our loved ones or really anyone or
Sure.
any animal under austerity. So
Sure.
and I think I understand where that's coming from, and it's in the scriptures, but I feel like that's if if there was a loving God, I feel like he would accept the austerity, but that it's not necessary.
You you raise a very, what's your name?
Padma?
Padma. So Padma, you raised a very, very important point, and thank you for that. I was going to explain this thing about austerity and what is that context, why and how, and what is that purpose, main thing. First of all, the austerity is to keep in mind is you're doing it for yourself, to yourself. Correct? What is austerity? We need to understand austerity is voluntary acceptance of some hardship. That is called austerity, a voluntary acceptance. Now, life is such that even if we don't want it, we get into some kind of a difficulty. No matter how much we just don't want it, we will get into that thing. To give you an example, let's say you're driving to work and you're caught in morning rush traffic. You're just sitting there bumper to bumper. There's nothing you can do. You hate it, but you're forced to sit in there 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever be that case. That is not austerity, that is misery. It is a hardship. Now, another way of austerity is all of us are accustomed to what we call creature comforts, things that will be pleasing to these five senses, the gross body, and also things which are pleasing to a subtle body. That's what we are accustomed to. And being accustomed to creature comforts tends to make us complacent. So, in life, correct, if we are able to voluntarily take some kind of a hardship, then it doesn't make us soft, so to say. But at the same time, it has to be done under the guidance of a teacher, because too much austerity would make us hard hearted. You don't want to be a soft namby-pamby, but at the same time, you don't want to be hard hearted. So, like you raised a very nice point, austerity for others. Problem is, we have a tendency to be very strict with others and very, very lenient when it comes to ourselves. But it should be the other way around. We should be strict with ourselves, strict in our discipline, non-compromising. And yes, with others, we should encourage them. We should inspire them. We should motivate them rather than, I'm your father, I'm telling you what to do, so just shut up and listen to me. ठीक है, that may work for a short time, but it won't be voluntary. So as long as in a parent-child, the parent always thinks for the child's welfare, and like tomorrow's Ekadashi, in Ekadashi you fast from grains and beans because we're so accustomed to eating. Actually, most of us eat more than necessary, and that to all that is necessary, unnecessary. That's what our situation is. So when you're doing this fasting, what you're doing is you're controlling this mind, your mind. Now, there has to be a purpose as to why we are doing this. Now, someone may do fasting for bodily benefit, to lose weight, to look good, whatever, get a summer bod and think, whatever they do. But if I'm doing this austerity so that I would be able to do my sadhana better, I want to get closer to Krishna, that pleases Krishna. That pleases Krishna. So on Ekadashi, if we are fasting, all we are doing is we are disciplining this mind of ours. You're so accustomed, very good. Every fortnight or so, 12 days, I will fast. Now, there are some people who do Nirjal Ekadashi. They don't even drink a drop of water. Or at the very least, do not eat grains. Whatever, rice, chapati, this, that, and all. But if I'm doing Nirjal, I'm starving my belly, but feeding my ego so that everyone comes to know, oh, he does Nirjal, what an austere person it is. Then I'm not doing it to get closer to Krishna. All I'm doing it is to feed my ego so that I will get pratishtha. That kind of austerity is more detrimental. So there is a purpose why we do austerity. It is a discipline. And all of us do austerity, Padma. Getting up in the morning and going to school is an austerity. Doing your homework is an austerity because your mind would be engaged. I want to play my video game or something, some fun activity. I'd rather hang out with my friends. But no, I'm doing this because it is important.
Well, I think that there are some people who do enjoy going to school in the morning and doing their homework. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is also social conditioning. Like people are brought up being told when they're children, like, oh no, homework. And like even the parents say, once you do your homework, you can go out to play. But if a parent had told me when I was younger, maybe there are many people out there who do tell their children, homework is so nice, you get to learn all of these things, these classes are so fun, then the homework is not an austerity anymore. So I think that even what you define as austerity really depends on the person. And I
True.
don't think that anyone should face austerity, right? Because if God really cares, then in every situation there should be something good that can make someone feel happier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. There is social circumstances. Like when we grew up, our standard of education was memorization. You memorize why, what, how, hardly touched upon. That was the times in those times. When we grew up, disciplining was with the cane. We were literally caned. If you got out of line, you were caned. Today, that's not the case. Things have changed. But the fact that a child should be disciplined, otherwise you go wild. Why child? Every one of us needs to be disciplined. Otherwise, there's only chaos and a big mess. Now it comes to the question of being what I enjoy to do. But more than enjoyment is what is required to be done. That is more important, whether I enjoy it or no. When a child is born, a newborn baby, it gets up every 2 hours. The mother would rather be sleeping, but as duty, she would do it. And of course, more importantly, is because of love. She would do it. So enjoyment is secondary, whether I enjoy doing it or no. There's this question which is asked, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? If you were to get a choice, would you rather take the right, do the right, or would you rather be happy? I could do stuff which makes me happy and I enjoy. And that's the reason there is so much of addiction going around. It's a sense of enjoyment. But the right thing is, okay, even though it gives me sensory pleasure, I would not do it. So the whole thing about this austerity, Padma, Mataji, is that we are doing it as a form of discipline. In the absence of discipline, we are animals. We are not rational beings. We are animalistic. And it is inbuilt. We all are disciplined to some extent, like the example I gave you for school. Some would enjoy going to school, some would not enjoy going to school. What do you do then? Okay, you do what you like? No. So that's the whole thing about austerity. Hare Krishna. Great. We just have 2 more. Anybody else? Or we can bring it to a close, but this was really nice. Thank you everyone for your participation. If we can end with 2 more.
Thank you so much. Prabhuji. Wonderfully explained the devotional service, the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, a like summary of that book. And can you share that presentation, Prabhuji, on Japathon? It's really nice.
I'll post it tomorrow. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much.
There's also one link. You can read Burijan Prabhu and Giriraj Swami's What is Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu?
Okay.
So it's there in the presentation, the link. You can look at that.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, I put a few things on the chat. In the chat.
1 minute.
I think it's like no Prabjalpa and getting rid of anarthas.
Yep. Prajalpa, I'll put it under this number 3. Always look for good in others. If you're looking for good in others.
That's when it came to my
Prajalpa.
mind when Sachivani Mataji said that.
Yeah, one of the austerities could be, anger, controlling my anger and envy.
Most important.
Become more tolerant.
Hare
Basically
Krishna,
getting
Prabhuji.
rid of all the anarthas.
Haribol. Prabhuji, you mentioned about Mangala Aarti, like that music composer is George Harrison, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, do you know the singer? The way
Yamuna
it
Mataji.
is. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Haribol. That is really something special.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So thank you all. So this is such a nice quote from Srila Prabhupada. We all know, we all say, we read in the Shastra. God is our Father. He loves us. He cares for us. He protects us. But we don't realize it. And bhakti is that way. Just a little bit, then we can actually, His splendor, His majesty, His greatness, His compassion, all those qualities, we will get up close and personal understanding of that and not an intellectual. Thank you, Prabhu's Matajis. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Over to you, Smeshwar Prabhu. I think Smeshwar Prabhu must be busy with something else. We can bring it to a close. Chant the prayers to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnav Vrind ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Grantaraj Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Thai
Jai.
Gaur Nandi Hari Hari Bol.
Hare. Thank you,
Hare
Amritananda
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hari
Prabhuji.
Bol.
Thank you.
Hari Bol.
Discussion, wonderful class. Hare.
All right. Prabhupada.